Welcome to Big Ideas, the podcast where three co-hosts rotate roles to explore real conversations, meaningful ideas, and the decisions that shape our lives. I'm Jessica Broadway, mom, coach, author, and speaker, and I work with people who are navigating seasons of change.
Hey, I'm Justin Gabassi, a human optimization coach, professional touring musician, and currently traveling the world to study how health, culture, and human connection intersect across societies.
And I am Mark Steiner, father and partner and entrepreneur and the founder and CEO of Gig Salad. And that's that.
Well. We have a tradition on this show. And if you've been tuning in for very long, you know what I'm about to say next. We all share our POV because, as Justin mentioned, and so did Mark, we're all different places at all different times on all different kinds of adventures. So I happen to be in Nixa, Missouri in my home studio. Where are you at, Mark?
I'm in Springfield, Missouri, and I'm in my home.
I am in Thailand currently. That's where I'm hanging out.
So good. What I love about all of us that we do this every week is that sometimes we're in the same place, sometimes we're not. You'll never know unless you tune in every week, right?
That's right.
Today is a very special episode. Today is celebrating our 300th day plus, give or take a few, since we said I do to being co-hosts on the Big Ideas. So we thought we would break down the last 16 weeks for everybody and have a very candid conversation about what it really takes to run a show, grow, all the ins and outs. There may be even a few tears and confessions today. But, this has been nothing short than a very intense journey of self-discovery for me. My favorite, to kick us off, my favorite thing has been the built-in accountability that this gives. You cannot rely on your own discipline to make decisions. And there are a lot of people out there that say, I just have really good self-control. But I find that in your vulnerable moments, it's very unlikely that you'll consistently follow through. And because of the level of vulnerability that putting on a show requires, accountability has been paramount in this experience. So if you're not as blessed as we are to do it with three people, and you do want to do something like this, you better have some accountability set up, whether that's a coach or something else. Accountability needs to be in place before you ever get started, because man, if I'd have been doing this myself, I might have bailed a few times. What about you guys? What's your hot take on what your number one thing is that you've learned as you go through this?
I think, for me, it parlays quite well from yours there, which is this takes more time and energy than you think it's going to take. And so if somebody is thinking about doing this, there's other podcasters or people that are wanting to do podcasting, really make sure that I know the ducks are never really in a row, but make sure that you're really ready to commit and watch for life leaks. Like for me, we decided to do this together before I left the US on this crazy journey, and I had in place my patterns, I had all of my, my car and my house and all the things that were like super structured. Right. And I was like, oh yeah, I can handle a podcast. Sure. Because I can handle it now. Right. And we kicked it off when I was still on US soil. And boy, since I've been out traveling and there's other things that are taking my mental and physical and emotional bandwidth, I've been caught, not literally, but as Jessica would say, sometimes you get caught with your zipper down and you might show a side of yourself, and not to call myself out, but there's been some times where that accountability thing has been questionable, where I felt really I felt really scared and nervous to let down my two of my best friends and also people I very much respect, the two of you, you know. And so, man, if you're getting ready to embark on a big life journey like I've done, of course, we're all on big life journeys. Just make sure you've got some things in place, and that's where I think what you said, Jessica. Maybe get somebody like our coach Rory involved, and maybe have a conversation before you just jump into this thing. So that's my first take on it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, what
Well,
Yeah.
about you, brother?
we decided we were going to do this together, and I had no idea how hard it was going to be, how difficult it is, how much work goes into it. We originally committed to 12. This is 16. And along the way, we discovered that 20 was actually a magic number, that if you can get to 20, then you've reached a threshold that few get to. That's kind of the first measurement. So I would just say trust the process, realize that you're going to evolve, and if you want to do it, realize it is not easy. The best ones make it look easy, but it's worth it.
Well,
Yeah.
my next lesson I've learned goes right along with you guys. Justin, you mentioned getting kind of assessing and whether your ducks were in a row. And for me, it's been letting go of whether or not, and I understand your intention with that. It's like just realizing that it is a commitment. But done is better than perfect has been a mantra that I've had to repeat for myself a lot through this. Learn as you go, but putting in the reps. So consistency and being willing to be messy and open and vulnerable. That accountability piece is there, but it makes you have to let go of a lot of stuff because we don't know a lot of these things when we got started. We didn't knew the framework of what we thought we were going to do, but as we went, there was that part that was like, well, we should re-record that, or we should redo this, or. And I'm really proud of the fact that we said done is better than perfect, and that part of the big idea, like the whole silent thread, or maybe we said it at some point, was that we wanted this, if nothing else, just modeled for people that done is better than perfect, and watch us learn and grow and go from we don't know what we're doing to maybe even a little bit awkwardly knowing too much of what we're doing, right? Because we've had to be so reflective, getting a little stiff and uncomfortable, to maybe in another few episodes we'll get the vibe of flowing, and we'll get this under our belts. But commit to done is better than perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I would say my number two is this is the most vulnerable thing I think I've ever done, especially, well, certainly publicly as well. And, I've been performing for a lot of years, but it's like with drumming, I'm hidden behind a fortress of drums, or if it's a acting thing, I'm hiding behind a character or something like that. And there was part of me that always secretly wanted to get comfortable with being more vulnerable, just because I know I was holding myself at bay, like how much I would allow myself to let go in relationships with other people and allow them in, and like sometimes you have to allow yourself to be vulnerable, let other people in. And as much as I want to be close and love and have close relationships, I'm finding that I've been blocking myself a lot, in this whole journey with travel. And then especially this journey with you guys on the podcast. There's moments, man, that are just like, even in the last couple podcasts, that are just brutally uncomfortable. Like, I know I've said this before, on other podcasts, but like the vulnerability hangover is real. And I thought social media was scary and vulnerable, right? But now you have to kind of put it all on the table. And I don't know how I could do it without, if I was doing this by myself, it'd be really rough. But you guys also are able to pull things out of me that I probably wouldn't reveal without you coercing it out. So that's the next thing, is like just how vulnerable this process is. It's liberating, okay, but it's scary as hell.
Yeah, that's something that I didn't anticipate. As much as I like to uh, be vulnerable and be transparent and be open, it wasn't a big component of what I thought we were going to be bringing to this. And that leads me to my number two, which is that doing this as a team has made all the difference. I don't think I would have, uh, well, I couldn't get this far if it weren't for others. There, it's doing a podcast, there's somebody who has to act as a producer. There's somebody that has to run the mechanism. In our case, we use Riverside, and a lot of that Jessica has done. Just running, and just recently went through a tutorial for Justin and I to know how to do just one aspect of uh, how to run Riverside, and that as I said, it is hard, and it takes more than just sitting down in front of a mic and talking or interviewing. And I think, back to Rory, without his guidance and help, who knows what number 16 would have looked like. I don't I can't imagine, just we, would have been the same thing, just the three of us sitting down in front of our mics and ranting and riffing and talking and et cetera, et cetera. Who knows? But yeah, it's something that if you're going to do it, realize you can't do it yourself. It
Mm-hmm.
won't be as good if you're going to try to do it all yourself, unless you're doing it full time. And that's the thing. This is not the only thing that any one of us do. And that I completely underestimated that. I thought, oh, I'll fit this in. And I have, but it ain't easy,
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I couldn't have done that without others.
Because the logistics of it is that we try to record 1 to 2 times a week, and then we have a collaboration meeting with our coach, and that was something that we decided we needed early on because, well, I would say all three of us are coaches in our own respect, right? I mean, you grow people, Mark, and you invest in people and you mentor people. And Justin and I both do this professionally. And one of the lessons that you have to learn is to be coachable, and that every good coach needs a coach. And so I think that that's been, just to parlay or my reflections on what you just said there was absolutely, we needed framework, and we needed to pay someone else to come alongside us and give us some guardrails and be open. And could we have done it ourselves? Would there be, I'm not sure there even would have been a episode 16, certainly not this early in the game, having decided it. And just because there would have been always something that came up, but because we applied a structure and a framework, and we had somebody that we had waiting for us on the other end of the line to share an episode to go, like there's that accountability that someone's waiting on something for us to deliver. So do not believe the lie that you can do this without accountability and someone there to guide you or mentor you or to do something. And, if you're a little neurospicy and you think you can do it by yourself, cheers. I wish you the best of luck. But for us, the maturity has been, let's hire somebody, to help us or team up.
Yeah.
For me, that as my third thing that I've learned, speaking of yourself and reflection and growth, I didn't expect, it's going to sound kind of funny, maybe, I don't know. It's vulnerable, but I didn't expect to get sick and tired of my own voice. So speaking of mechanics, you have to watch back every episode to grow from it. And you have to listen to every episode and then watch every episode, and you learn your tics and you learn your things that you do and all this stuff, and you're watching yourself, and it's so vulnerable, and the shame dialogue that can kick in and be like, oh my gosh, who do you think you are? That voice is really loud, and it feels very, very, very vulnerable. You'll learn things about yourself that you can't unlearn, and that if you don't have tools to help you reflect and break those down, it could be very, it could be, I mean, it could be damaging to your self image, like you could really become negative self talk and beat yourself up quite a bit. And so, yeah, I've had to use a lot of tools to coach myself off the couch, if you will, and talk kindly to myself and say, hey, it's okay, you're learning. You wouldn't talk like that to your kids when you saw them do something. Don't speak like that to yourself. I've had to reach out to you guys for some perspective and encouragement, to not feel so bad about it and to not be so hard on myself. It's been very, very vulnerable taking a peek at how others might see me and how things sound when I say them and how long I talk. I'm so self-conscious about that now. It's crazy, but we're learning and we're growing.
Yeah, I mean, not to call you out, Mark, but you even came up with an acronym for not talking too much near the beginning of the episodes, right?
That's right.
I
That's
don't know if it's appropriate to share that, but it was, what was it?
No, can we say that?
Yeah.
I never even understood the acronym. I just figured it was something for you to say, but maybe I should have asked.
Yeah.
You didn't get it? You didn't know? Show,
No,
foo you.
no.
No, that's
Yeah.
good. You're
Yeah.
such a pure heart.
Yeah. This was Mark. This was your attempt at self-regulating, talking too much, right? Which we were all just like, we're all paranoid about, of course.
For sure.
Um,
Yeah.
Man, I'd say my third thing is that in spite of the challenges, the juice is worth the squeeze, because ultimately, getting to share like all this valuable information with others, with two extremely qualified people, the two of you that also happen to be my best friends to support me along the way, because they're makes it worth it, because like we've all alluded to, like the scheduling conflicts when we all have a ton of other businesses we're doing and we're all traveling and doing stuff, and Jessica, 3 boys, and husband, and all the 10 million things we all do, each of us, and then the homework. I didn't expect to have to do homework as an adult. I mean, like literally, the awkward conversations, like I alluded to in my first point, which was like one time when I really dropped the ball, and I was posturing, at first, like trying to act like, it wasn't my fault, and it certainly was, and having to come to terms with that and have kind of a pretty emotional conversation with you guys, which ultimately brought us, even closer together, which just is also part of the whole vulnerability of this entire process. And after all of that, and going back to the juice being worth the squeeze, is when I've started to get testimonials, and each of you started to get testimonials that this is providing value to our listeners, And I always get so nervous. Like I felt like a little nervous about the last podcast we recorded, which will pop out at some point. And I thought, kind of felt like I crapped the bed on that one a little bit, or maybe didn't hit it the way I wanted to hit it, or whatever. And it's like, oh man, we feel so strong about like there's so many episodes. I was like, oh yeah, yeah. And then I'm like, I'm thinking of as the listeners like hanging around, oh yeah, these guys are good. And then all of a sudden, whoa, what happened on? I'm like, oh no, am I going to hear like what happened on that one, guys? So I'm like already in my head about that, and, but then again, at the end of the day, I have you guys to lean into. And for people that are doing this by themselves, kudos. But again, going back to Rory, man, at least have a coach or a really good somebody you can lean on, a cheerleader of some kind. That's my third takeaway.
What I've come to learn about podcasting is that it's not just it's not just another form of storytelling, but it's, I think, the most intimate form one could have. Um, Everything else is kind of, whether it's film or television. Um, Probably the closest to me would be song. Being a singer songwriter. Like if you write a
Mm,
song and then you get up and perform that song. That, it's just, it can be so raw. With podcasts, if you're doing it with others, unless you're sitting at a mic and just talking, which I suppose there's podcast examples where that's the case. But if you're if you're co-hosting and you're talking and storytelling, and you're doing it right, then which is ultimately you're doing it with feeling and emotion, and you're getting real, and you're digging and trying to get to the core and essence of whatever it is you're trying to communicate, then you're putting your soul out there. You're putting your heart and soul out there. And if you're doing it in the way we are, which is, we're being video taped while we do this, so you're seeing our faces, you're getting the body language, you're getting all the little all the little nuancy things that might be going on sometimes. Um, the inside baseball, the little things, the way we communicate. It's it's been it's at moments it's been I've said things on podcasts and that I didn't expect to say, and I didn't even necessarily want to say, but I felt compelled to say it because um, really the reason I'm doing this is to somehow reach an audience.
Mm,
I want to be able to say to people, I hear you, I see you, I've been there, I've done that, I've lived through it, I can relate to you, I'm empathetic to you, I have compassion for you, and if I can do that through my stories, then I feel like I'm sharing. I feel like my life has purpose. Then I feel like
mm,
all the things that I've lived through, all the experiences I've had, all the things I've done, now have a different level of meaning, because there was those who experienced those things in real time with me. There was my own experience with that event, and now as a different person, as a hopefully a more evolved and mature person, I can look back on it and perhaps take away embarrassment or shame or pride or whatever those things are, and now just to sort of talk about it in a different way, in a different light, and to do it with others, that in some way there's some accountability and responsibility to one another to make sure that what we're doing we do well, with good intention, with meaning, with heart, with soul. So um, I'm enjoying this beyond what what I really thought. I think what I had in mind before was, oh, we're going to do a podcast and it's going to be successful. But now it's now knowing what it is. Let me ask you guys, now that you've had this experience with us together, are you feeling like you want to do more of it? Are we going to do more of it? And
mm.
are you feeling compelled to do it, maybe as a solo, or in a different framework, in a different style?
What I've decided is that I have obviously a lot to say about a lot of things. And the social, the future of our podcast really depends on the community that we'll build, and if people will subscribe to it, and if they'll like it, and if they'll share it with their friends, if they'll join us on the journey, if they'll ask us, hey, will you guys do an episode about this? Those are the things that are going to continue to inspire us to keep going with this. And if you share the feedback and you send the DMs and you say, hey, I haven't listened, just be honest, I haven't listened to it, but I love what you guys are doing. Keep going. Any bit of encouragement that you can give us to continue this journey really does mean so much. And because of this experience, it's given me the courage to have my own show someday. I would love to have my own show because I've wanted to do this for years, and I've tried two other times with other people, and it got a few episodes in, and the interest and commitment wasn't able to follow through because of schedules, life, like it is real work. So when I came to the table with the three of you and to see us grow and wrestle with things and have hard conversation and practice our tools and have mature conversations, this is such a rare trifecta anyway, that three people would be able to have such a deep friendship and collaboration in business, that I think that in itself alone is something that people can learn from and see that real friendship is possible and authentic friendship is possible. But you guys have given me the courage to maybe say, hey, maybe I can be successful at podcasting. Maybe I can put some free tools out there for people to listen to. And so I'm excited. I'm exploring those, and hopefully I'll have a show coming out later this year that'll be a spin-off of the show where you can just hear me talk even more. But there's a few things that I want to break down that we just don't have time. We'd have 2-hour, 3-hour podcasts if we all got to tell every bit of every story and be there for people. So this has inspired me. This whole experience has inspired me and emboldened me. And you guys believing in me and wanting to do this with me has been such an encouragement to me that I don't always have the words for, surprisingly.
Yeah. Well, I hope you do your solo podcast. I'll tune in. And me selfishly knowing like all the other stuff that's rattling around in that head and how beneficial it can be to so many people. I hope you do it and put it out there. For me, Mark, I'm in, man. I'm in with you guys, and I am very inspired to do my own. There's a lot of things I'm learning out here on the road where I'm taking, I'm literally taking the things I teach and having to apply them to myself in a way that is field testing stuff like never before, right? And it's highly valuable, at least for me. And some of the stuff I'm sharing with clients, it's valuable as well. So I'm inspired and considering my own as well. I'm really glad I started the process with you guys because, oh my gosh, I would have had, if I would have come out of the gate with my own situation, I think it would have been super rough and maybe just a failure. I don't know. But I'm in with you guys, and I just want to say to the listeners, you guys are everything. And one of the most finite assets we have on the planet is our time, and so thank you guys for listening. And I know I could speak for the three of us. I'll speak for myself at least that we really value that time and energy. And we just hope we're bringing value to you. And that's the whole goal. So, yeah.
Me too. I want to do something else. In addition to this, I want to see us hitting some of those milestones that in the podcast world are, get to 20, get to 50, get to 100, get to 250. Now, as I look at other podcasts and I see their episodes, I see their seasons. Mark Maron, who just, retired, sort of was one of the godfathers of this industry, just retired. And I think about how much work he's done. Now I get it. Like I didn't have an appreciation of that before. So I think it would be a shame if we didn't hit some of these next ones, and I think it does need to come from the audience. I hope that we are that we're entertaining, that we're people are learning something too. I hope that what we're putting out there, that people are seeing that we are, we're just three folks doing our best, trying to storytell and doing it as amateurs. We're amateurs. We've not done this before. You've seen us in real time every week since we've started. You've watched the evolution, and I would say we recognize that some are. I think we've got a couple home runs. Um, I think the one that I'm the most excited about is yet to come out. It's and we've had some, I'll call them stinkers, but stinkers in the sense that they just weren't, whether we weren't as prepared, whether we there was, we made a mistake or something, and that's thrown us off, and it's, learning how to get back on track, that kind of stuff. But we're still doing it. We're doing the work, and we're checking these off. Like it's episode 16, and we're 4 away from the first milestone, and we're 4 more beyond what we originally talked about. And I don't know about you two, but I wasn't sure we were going to get to 12. We committed to it, but halfway through, I started to think, do I have it in me? Am I still enjoying this? Is this fun? Are we doing any good? Et cetera, et cetera. So, for me, I want to do other stuff. And what I will share with this, I learned a whole bunch from South by Southwest this past week. Because there was a lot of podcasters and a lot of influencers talking about the industry. And I got really inspired by deciding myself. This wasn't something that other people, that was actually expressly said. But what I got, my inspiration was the muse talked to me and said, go back and just produce content. It doesn't have to be, I was thinking I was going to wait until I could make an investment and build out a really robust, soundproof podcast studio with all the greatest, newest, and greatest equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I would be ready. And I would come out, and that would be the thing that led me. I decided I'm going to come back and be as raw and rough as you can possibly imagine. So I'm not going to put a date out there yet, but I am working towards doing something, and it's not going to be pretty. And that's exactly what I need. I personally need is for things to not be terribly polished. So, guys, share one quick anecdote of your favorite moment. Like what stands out to you from we've gotten this far in episode 16. What's one thing that has really encouraged you and is one thing that has kept you going and makes you want to wants you to come back?
I don't know.
I'll go.
Okay.
Do you need some more time to think about it, or Jessica?
Go for it.
I have an uncle that has inspired. Well, both my uncles inspire the heck out of me. They're both amazing guys. I really was blessed. One in particular, though, started off kind of like doing what I'm doing, but he did it. Obviously, I was really young when he started. He went into the Peace Corps and he traveled all over the world. And I remember him saying at one point that everything he owned, he was carrying on his back. And I thought, that is the craziest concept I've ever heard. And I'm doing that now. And I was always inspired. And he recruited a dear friend of mine into the Peace Corps. And that dear friend has a beautiful marriage with 2 beautiful boys. And so there's always been this really cool thread of inspiration from this man, my Uncle Joe. And I was having a rough night the other night because we did this podcast not too long ago where I got super vulnerable. And it was the first time I'd gotten really vulnerable. And I was like, got emotional and everything. And it was scary as hell. And I just finished rewatching that. Like, oh my gosh, do I really have to put this out to the world, man? And as soon as I closed my laptop, I got a text message from him saying how much he's enjoying the podcast and how beneficial it's been. And so it's like one of your sort of role models, reinforcing what you're doing. And I thought, man, you know what? Even if it's just 1 or 2 or 5 people or whatever that are benefiting from this, then that's enough to keep me trucking. So that's my moment.
Jessica, you have one?
Yeah. It similar to what Justin said is to just watch the the views growing and to get the DM messages that are from people that say, hey, I just want to tell you thank you for being vulnerable and doing this messy and like just doing it. It's really inspiring to see that. And then there's people that have organically gone and gotten an episode that they liked and shared that on social media. And that really just means a lot. And that encouragement keeps me going. One of my favorite episodes, though, right before we hit record, we all kind of had a fuss. Like we had a little showdown pre-record, and we've joked a couple of times, like there definitely needs to be a documentary person filming the behind the scenes of the scenes, because we've made a commitment not to edit here.
Yep.
And so we don't edit any of our episodes. And that adds another layer of vulnerability where you're thinking real time, like I'm accountable for every word that comes out of my mouth. And we had just had a big discussion and it was not comfortable, but we all went, show ready. And that happened to be one of the best episodes to date that we've been able to record. And that gave me such encouragement that I don't always have to feel great, but I can be committed and to continue to show up here and work through the kinks and have the bad days and to tell you guys when I'm having a bad day and you guys to be able to say that and that we all come alongside each other and say, chin up, we got this. And we carry each other with grace and forgiveness and mercy and understanding and encouragement and endurance and all the good things. And we're carrying each other through this. And that helps me show up on chaotic days knowing that you guys have my back.
Similar. Having people that have known me my whole life, and then some who I've known just a short time that have left comments either on our posts, our social posts as we're trying to promote this, the DMs, private conversations, like there's almost a reverence in that I didn't talk a lot about this. I didn't I didn't tell people we were doing this. I wanted to just start doing it. I wanted it to be one of those ta-da, and like where did that come from? What be, because I'm so busy and I'm doing so many other things. It's one of those things like number one, like how did you possibly fit that in? Like how do you have the time? But then over and above that, it's not only it's kind of like, but of course you'd have to do a podcast, Mark. It's, and I think they're saying that like, right, I'm not sure it's always a compliment, but it's just the encouragement that I'm getting from folks that I may or may not be listening, but I think listening and watching, but I know that you are. I know that there's some that are, and the encouragement I've gotten from just the fact that I'm doing it, I'm trying, and the collaboration. There's been a really fun thing that's happened where people, people that have known all three of us but didn't know that we knew each other, and it's like, wait, how Justin and Jessica, or Justin, and these really great connections of, and we've gotten some kudos on that. Like, oh, there couldn't be three better people that come together to do this thing.
Hmm.
So, yeah, keep the encouragement coming, everyone. And as Jessica said, if you have recommendations, suggestions, things that you're curious about, things that you would want to have talked about publicly, or opinions from others, send them our way. We have no shortage of thoughts and ideas and things we want to talk about, but we also want to make sure that what we're saying is relevant and resonating with you all. And, we just want to make you guys happy and hopefully make the audience grow.
Mm.
Any closing thoughts from you two? Anything more we should cover that we didn't?
I thought it was a
Cheers.
tough guy, but I don't know. There's been several episodes I've gotten emotional, and Jessica, what you were just saying a minute ago, I don't know, just thinking about how much I love you guys, and how much I'm happy to be on this journey doing this crazy podcast thing. And I don't know what it is. It's like the floodgates are opening. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but I've been more emotional the last handful of episodes than I think I've been the last chunk of my life. You know what I mean? So whatever. For those of you out there, I don't know what you think about it. It's a wild ride, but you're seeing me loosen up in real time. It's crazy. Anyway, appreciate you guys, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yep. Cheers. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
May it continue
Olipop.
as long as it continues.
Yeah.
We want endorsements, people. I'm drinking. I love your stuff, Olipop.
I've been drinking
out of this Grail water filter for 6 months. This is anyway. Try to get them.
That should be a big one.
I know. Maybe we'll get them on the deal. Anyway,
do a quick promotional shot, Justin.
Okay, here we go.
Right now.
Thank you to Grail Water Filtration. This thing has saved me for 6 months. I've drank water in places that your dog wouldn't drink. So it's been great. It's been my go-to thing for hydration. Anyway.
And you've avoided dysentery and all sorts of other diseases.
Yeah, I'm going to knock on some wood, Mark. But yeah, that's right. That's one thing that it filters. So
Did I say that word right? Is that a thing? Is it dysentery?
I think so.
Did I just make something up?
Dysentery, giardia, parasites, bacteria, microplastics, all kinds of cool things.
Okay.
Yeah. So, boom. Cheers. Hello.
Yeah, I mean, one way to make sure that something keeps going is to make some money with it. So I'm not opposed to any brand deals, sponsorships. You guys got products you want us to promote out here? Holla, holla, all day long.
How many likes do we need to have? How many followers? How many listeners? Tell us the analytics that your brand needs, and we'll talk.
Yeah, and just a little shout out to the listeners. I don't know if they know this, but one thing that really helps us is if you will like and subscribe to the episode, not just listening to the episode. And so make sure that you guys are subscribing. I know it's a pain. You're going to have to log into your account to do the subscribe, but we appreciate the moment of frustration that it takes you to do that and inconvenience. It means the world to us. And the impact that it can have. We've gotten our very, very first episode that's gotten over 100 views. And I know that's small beans and potatoes for some things, but I'm not going to let anybody steal that moment from us. I am darn proud of us for doing that and for getting it out there. And we're growing and we're learning how to share on socials, how to connect all of these things. And really, we need you guys to come alongside us and cheer for us as well. So thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
We're doing our part and we'll do better. So thanks for listening to Big Ideas, a podcast about people, perspective, and the ideas that shape who we are becoming. If this episode sparked something for you, stay curious. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
See ya.